Okay, a little bit about what we're doing at Aqua Medical. You know, Scott talked this morning about platform technologies, and we have a platform technology. It's water vapor ablation. It's to treat disease and prevent cancer throughout the GI tract. It's catheter goes through an endoscope, goes through the mouth. It's a 30-minute outpatient procedure. Patient goes home or goes back to work the same day. And we have three therapeutic targets. The first one is ablating Barrett's esophagus to prevent esophageal cancer. The second one is to ablate the duodenum to treat diabetes, very interesting. And the third is to ablate pancreatic cysts to prevent pancreatic cancer. So three therapies, three very large markets, one platform technology, and actually one physician that does all the procedures, the GI endoscopist. So ideal for the sales force of a strategic. So here's what the system looks like. Sort of the generator console generates the vapor, and what we do is we create a unique sort of portfolio of catheters for each area of the GI tract that we're targeting. So first, the first therapy, Barrett's esophagus. 3 million Americans have it. It's typical treatment is an upper endoscopy like this for certain cohorts of it. This is our product. So see our catheters coming through the endoscope. The blue overtube kind of retracts, and it deploys these two shape memory discs, and it creates a neat little treatment chamber. You see the vapor sort of dosing out, precise dosimetry. A couple things about the esophagus. It's not a smooth organ. You see all the interstitial areas, the sort of the nooks and crannies, the irregular areas, and also the curvature of the stomach. Those areas are very difficult for current technologies to reach effectively. Vapor is like the perfect ablation agent because it gets into all these small areas and it gets a uniform depth, which is just what you want to sear the mucosa and not go deeper. All right, other things about the current technologies, they're complex, they're cumbersome. Sometimes it's a separate device alongside the endoscope, which is really, so the physician has to navigate two items. They have multiple steps. Also, if they miss space, they miss some of these areas of ablation, there are multiple treatments required per patient. A study showed 2.8 treatments per patient, coming back over months. So it's really an expert task, constrains the market. Our thesis with Aqua is faster, easier to use, fewer procedures per patient, lower cost, essentially democratize the procedure. Okay, the second target, the duodenum. There's technology out there that has demonstrated endoscopic ablation of the duodenum can be effective in treating type 2 diabetes, reducing hemoglobin A1C, and in certain cohorts, getting them off daily injected insulin. So big deal. I mean, a 30-minute outpatient procedure and you're off daily injections. So there's a lot of focus and effort, technologies, and investment, frankly, going into this space. The beauty for Aqua is the physicians working in this, PIs and stuff, actually came to us and they said, look, you guys have the perfect product for this because you can navigate the tortuous anatomy. Our catheter goes right through the scope. There's no devices over the scope. You deploy these two little discs, this neat little treatment chamber. Vapor puffs out. It's not ablating. It's not, you can get to the small areas, the regular areas. So long story short, several of these docs already have us in animal studies for the duodenum, and the results are really promising. So we're thrilled about this, actually. All right, extra added bonus, the technology we have for the esophageal is identical for the duodenum. So we spend once on R&D. We basically get two very large therapeutic applications. Okay, the third one, pancreatic cancer. Obviously a terrible 5% 5-year survival rate. There is no effective non-surgical approach to ablate pancreatic cysts and prevent them from going to pancreatic cancer. It's really a surveillance patient management approach. They surveil the patient, and if surgery is required, then they do what's known as a Whipple procedure. You're probably familiar with it, resection of the pancreas, huge impact to quality of life. So the beauty of what we'll be able to do at Aqua is endoscopically ablate these pancreatic cysts. Now, sort of a factoid, I didn't know this either, but 3.5% of adults basically have pancreatic cysts. They find them through random MR and CT scans. They send them to an endoscopist that has a specialty scope that you see here. It has an ultrasound tip. It finds the cyst, and it has a needle that goes into that cyst. This is current standard of care today, nothing new. All they do, though, is they sample that cyst fluid, characterized as benign, indolent, aggressive, or cancer, and they do nothing. This is what we will be able to do with Aqua. And vapor is like the perfect ablation agent because it has a huge amount of energy. It can get through these tiny little annular spaces like this 19-gauge needle. It dumps the energy, collapses into just little droplets of water, and the pancreatic cyst is ablated. So we've already made a micro miniature electrode array with vapor catheter that can go through this 19-gauge needle. So we're making great progress. The AGA says this is the #1 unmet need in the GI space today. So lots of progress on that. So where are we as a company? We've actually secured our first 510K. And this is for, now this is not for that, it's for a focal device. So our first 510K. The beauty is, so the current market leader in esophageal ablation is Medtronic radiofrequency ablation. Great product. Now we demonstrated for this FDA clearance substantial equivalence to the radiofrequency ablation, and they basically gave us the entire bevy of indications that RF has. So we were obviously pretty happy about that. We have a great, very successful first-in-man study, 19 patients, top center in Amsterdam, Jacques Bergman, and a cascade of other studies continuing on. We think we have a bang-up team. Pete Nicholas, founder of Boston Scientific, he's put in over $2 million into Aqua. Greg Barrett, this is a funny story. Greg Barrett sold Barrx Medical to Covidien Medtronic. Now that is the current radiofrequency market leader, probably 90+% share. Anyway, he knows a lot about this stuff, so he's our board chairman. So his endorsement is kind of like Aqua's the Tesla, his is like the combustion engine. So we're very pleased that he's on board. Bill Starling, probably a lot of you guys know Bill. I tried to put his CV on one page. It's impossible. I could basically cram his IPOs on one page. His startups that he's represent over $4 billion in revenue today, but also he's a VC, so he's raised over $280 million in capital. So we're thrilled and privileged to have Bill on the board. All right, so summary, we're going after huge clinical needs, one technology platform, 510K cleared, strong early clinical work. We oversubscribed to financing, we raised $15.5 million, we're shooting for 10. We have reimbursement for the esophageal application, coding, coverage, payment. We use the same code as the RF ablation, which is allowed. We have strong IP, we have top KOL physicians, and we're going to be raising $25 million in Q4. So if anyone has thinks a potential fit, we would be happy to talk to you. Thank you.